right. First
Senor
step, add your
Cooper.
water.
You add water.
We're using RO water because it's cleaner than chlorine.
What does RO stand for?
Reverse osmosis.
How do you get reverse osmosis water?
You run bad water, high pressure through permeable membranes.
What is a permeable membrane?
Fluoride, your arsenic, lead, copper.
I thought those were good for you.
Selenium, radium.
That was good for the brain.
So it gets to 160. Every single time we brew it, every time. Once this gets to 160, then we add our malted grains, mainly barley. And then we let those sit in there for 1 hour at 160 degrees, and you don't want to go below 150. So the key is to cover it and let it steep. It's like making tea.
Delicious,
nutritious tea. Our next step is to get all of your ingredients and supplies laid out. So we've already tested our new wort chiller setup. So we're going to be pumping ice cold water through the wort chiller when it's sitting in the wort. We've got our hops laid out. I always like to number these to make it kind of idiot proof, so that way whenever you're doing a hop schedule, you're adding these at the right time. We're going to be trying some Pilsner extract, which is going to kind of go in with the liquid malt extract right here. We've got our grain sanitizer solution, graduated cylinder for taking readings with, thermometer, spoon, siphon. The next step is to add your malted grains. So we're gonna add this to a cheesecloth bag and then put it in there because we're at 160 now.
Making beer.
So we're 11 minutes in. Got our grains soaking. We're gonna lift it up, just like making tea. And we're gonna do that for both of them for the next 45 minutes. And then we're gonna pull them out.
We're back with Cooper.
Yeah, so now what we're doing, I forgot to mention this earlier, but what you can do is kind of press the bag lightly. This is why I get nylon bags, because nylon bags don't rip. Cloth bags do. And also this thing will put holes in a lot of stuff. So these nylon bags are great because I can press them, get all the sweet goodness out of that grain. We're right at 150, so we're gonna nuke it here in a second.
What does that mean?
It means put the heat down.
Oh. But first,
Something the cowboys used to be good at, you know?
oh,
That
You're
one's
so funny.
for all my Cowboys fans.
You have Cowboys
Keep
fans?
believing. One day it'll happen.
What will happen?
Cowboys will be good.
So we're right at Brandon for life.
160 there. Just looking like that.
Try anything, Trice? That actually does smell really fucking good, actually. Yeah. Oh, look at you, all science class. All science class.
All right, our next step.
Close-ups.
Each of these out. Yeah, you can come a little closer.
Closer.
Michelle, come here. And now I'm gonna need you to slide that underneath here.
What do I do,
And
Coop?
you can, you can set it on here.
What do I do, Coop?
So our next step is to wrangle this bad boy like that. We're gonna pour 4 cups of hot water, not boiling, on it. And the important thing is here, you do not, you don't molest the bag. Leave it alone, let it drip. Don't squeeze it, just leave it alone.
Can I manhandle it?
No, you can't molest the bag. Okay?
We had a pee and it
Next one.
died.
What?
You did. Look,
You put liquid paper on a bee. It died. Doing the research necessary for Cooper to make beer.
so again, another 4 cups.
Can you slap it?
No.
Can you poke it?
Like I said, you don't want to molest this bag at all.
Can you rub it?
No, you just want to let it drip.
Can you talk
you're
to
making
it?
We're making tea. You can talk to it.
Can I whisper sweet nothing?
You have to speak.
Into its
You have
ear?
to speak German to it because we're making it German.
Only Deutsch?
Only Deutsch.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
All right. Now we're gonna get that out of there.
Rude.
And next step is we're gonna raise this back to a rolling boil, and then we're gonna move on to adding that stuff.
What is that stuff, Mr. Cooper?
Sweet goodness.
What is sweet goodness?
Guys, our friends are leaving us. So everybody say bye, Greg and Whitney. New character walks into the set. His name is Nathan Guy. He's the guy. He's got everything two-stroke.
Cooper,
But-
you're holding my camera.
I am. Okay. So now we have discarded our grains over there in the bucket. That's for the hogs. And we're bringing our temp up to, I don't know if y'all can see that. We're gonna bring it to boil. And then we're gonna add in our malts. Next we're adding our dried malt extract. We're gonna add this first because that's just gonna turn it into syrups. Yeah. You want to take this empty? This is the liquid malt extract. It's a Pilsen extract. I'm gonna add that in.
Go ahead and pour that in. Give me that one. I'll get it ready.
So we're gonna put some hot water in this because it's like molasses right now. In the meantime, we've got our wort coils over here. They're called chill. They'll chill the wort once we're done. So we've got them kind of boiling. Some sanitizer solution in these, and so we got to make sure everything is clean because once that wort comes off the burner and we cool it down to room temp, it is very exposed to contamination. And then in addition to that, we've had our yeast sitting out for the better part of 2 hours and the bag's starting to swell. So we know the yeast is starting to work. So we're gonna kind of work it up here, activate it, and then that way we'll be ready to add it here in a little bit. So we're also gonna go ahead and put it in this warm water to really activate that yeast up. We've got our hops labeled here. We're gonna start with this one. This is the Tradition. And then we're gonna do the Hallertau Mittenführer. And those are gonna be our hops. So we're gonna add this one. Once we start the hop schedule, we're gonna start a clock for 60 minutes. And then we're gonna add this guy with 10 minutes left on the clock. And then we're also gonna add our secret sauce here that I'm not gonna tell anybody about. All right, so we're gonna add our Tradition hops. They're German Tradition hops, so they're very German. We're just gonna drop that in, and we're now gonna start a timer for 1 hour. This is what's called the hop schedule part of making beer. So you're just gonna add hops at certain times during this next hour to achieve whatever type of beer you're making. So this is really kind of where the beer is formed, where the flavors come from, and where the fun happens.
And the timer has been started.
Okay. All right, we're good. All right, we've got 10 minutes left in the hop schedule, so we're gonna add our second batch of hops. And then 10 minutes from adding this, we're gonna stop the boil, and we're gonna cool it down. Add our Hallertaus. Like I said earlier, I sanitize my hands every time I touch this stuff because I don't want anything getting in there. It's not dead. And then we drop it in. 10 minutes left. And then we're gonna cool it down. Now at the end of our hour, We're gonna pull our hops out here. Discard those with the pig food. And then we're gonna carefully, ready? Now we've got our wort chillers. We're gonna pop those in. Make sure our lines are good. And then we've got our pump sucking water out of this ice bath here and pumping it through our copper wort chillers into here to cool this down. We'll bring it down from 212 degrees to 80 degrees in 15 minutes. And then that's how you get a real crisp finish. Otherwise it kind of muddles together everything. It's like we're already at 150. How much time are we at right now?
3:30.
Wait, really?
3 minutes, 30 seconds.
A successful one yet.
Sanitizing. Make sure there's no contaminants within the beer. And to make sure that we have good beer.
Don't you want a little taste of the glory? See what it tastes like.
So what we're doing here is we're gonna separate this out between these two buckets here to get our final measurements. Then we're gonna add water and dilute it, which is called sparging. So the big thing here is once you add water, you can't take it out. So you want to add your water and take specific gravity readings, kind of as you're sparging to make sure you get the correct specific gravity you're starting with for your beer. Otherwise, you'll end up with a really light beer, and people want to get drunk. So
And not as tasty.
correct, not as tasty. It tastes real watered down. So what we're doing now is we're aiming for. We just brewed 5 gallons of wort. We're going to dilute that. Pretty much double the volume. So what we're doing is we're trying to get 2.5 gallons ish of our concentrate, and then we'll sparge from there as per the specific gravity reading we get. Aerate your wort as much as possible right now. To kind of make a really aerobic environment for the yeast. The technical term for it. Gonna be some strong beer. Good, we got them both at 3 gallons. So our next step is gonna be to go ahead and kind of start sparging these a little bit. And we're gonna do 1 gallon a piece and then take a reading. And then from there, we'll determine how much more water we need to add to each batch. So we're gonna go ahead and put a cover on this guy so we don't get anything in there. Yeah, like I said, it's called sparging. It's really what it is, a fancy term for diluting. So we've essentially brewed a concentrated sugar liquid. And you've got to dilute it, otherwise the yeast has too much alcohol and they stop producing. alcohol. And there's too much, so you've got to have enough water in there to. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a specific gravity reading. We're about at the same amount, so we're gonna dip in here. So we fill up about 180 milliliters. This is obviously gonna be higher than what we need, but we're shooting for a 1063 or 1.063, and it's kind of hard to tell with the foam right now, but we're actually there. This is actually the exact amount of specific gravity we want. So we're gonna let it settle. We're gonna pour this back and take a reading from the other side now. That way we're brewing the same beer as both these. They're gonna go in separate kegs. We're actually at the right perfect amount. 1063 is what we're aiming for. We're at, that one needs definitely some more water in it. This one? Yeah. So, go ahead and pour that. Go ahead and grab me. Do half a gallon. It's okay if it makes a bunch of aeration. Alright, yeah, that's good. We'll try that. Can you give it a stir real quick? Did you get it ordered?
Yeah. You're in 15 minutes.
Alright. We've never really done this before. We've never cared this much. But since I want my keg beer to be exactly the same as
Yeah.
more water.
That was only like a third of the gallon.
So guys, what we're doing right now is we're taking very precise measurements here, and so we're shooting for a 1063. As you can tell, we're closer to 1070 right now. So we're gonna add a little bit more water, take one more reading, and see what happens.
That should be about perfect, dude.
Add a splash or two more. Bring it up to 5. Just go ahead and bring it up to 5.
What's up?
We're close enough. Just keep adding.
Okay. Say one.
Let's do it. Okay. I'm gonna take a reading on this guy. Yeah. Add some water to that guy.
Shut that wrist up.
Yeah, so that, yeah.
Soon, you might need a little bit more.
That was 11. That's the 11th gallon right there. We also added extra this time doing the liquid malt extract, and probably added a little extra this time. We're making up for it now. We're good.
That one's good?
Yeah.
Wait, this one is good? Or that one's good?
1060.
And this one's good too?
I'm gonna take one more reading. Yeah, we can go ahead and start siphoning into the kegs. What you got? See, we're shooting for 1063, and we're sitting right now. That's the 60 mark at the orange. We're sitting exactly 3 points below that. So we have our beer at exactly the specific gravity that the recipe calls for. So at this point, now we're going to transfer it into the kegs, and then we're going to crash the wort, which means bringing it down to about 45 degrees, and then we're also going to pitch our yeast that's sitting right there next to Michelle. Go ahead and
Yeah, siphon.
go ahead and add our yeast up there. Come on. Go ahead and dump that bad boy back in.
Which one?
This guy. We don't need to be super exact with these because this is literally billions, hundreds of billions of micros that we're adding. So theoretically people say you can add you could add one cell of yeast to each of these batches and you could ferment the entire thing. So we're at 150, and because we're in America, we're 2/3, which is actually less helpful. So we're gonna add 75 milliliters to each. And that constitutes pitching the yeast. Now we're gonna give them one last stir. And from there, we're gonna lift one of these guys up here and start siphoning. Go ahead and cap this guy off here. We're actually probably not gonna siphon this pour, because who doesn't like a little bit of this? We're actually gonna siphon some, because I'm not that stupid. This would be a really bad way to end 4 hours of work. So like I said, sanitize everything. Clean your hands. Let's dump some more of this water out of here. And now we wait for that to finish siphoning. Kegs up. We're gonna bring them over here to the kegerator. We're gonna throw them in here and crash them down. We already know that it's pretty cold in here. We're gonna turn it up a little bit but we're aiming for about 45 degrees. The temperature range on this yeast I think is 46 to 85. So we're gonna run it pretty cold. That way we get a nice crisp lager. So we had this defoamer. It's a silicone defoamer. I think you're supposed to do we're gonna do 2 drops, and that just prevents a little bit of foam. Because this one looks like it's gonna be kind of foamy. And then that's it. The beer is done. This is the final product here. It's 2 kegs. Like I said, that's gonna go in the mini fridge and we're gonna lager that for 5 to 6 weeks at 45 degrees. It's gonna cause a really slow fermentation, which typically is kind of more on the crafty beer end, so that's what we're shooting for. I'll see y'all next time.